As with most Fujifilm cameras, there's a touch of retro about the X-A3. Our review sample came in the two-tone brown faux leather and metallic finish. It's also available with black or pink faux leather, and while there are some aluminium parts, including the front cover, top plate and top dials, it does have quite a plasticky feel. On the right-hand side of the camera is a rigid flat covering a micro USB slot via which you recharge the X-A3, which we find preferable to a battery charging cradle, alongside a micro HDMI output. The undercarriage holds a compartment for the battery, rated at 410 shots, and a SD card slot. There's a fairly standard menu system that will be easy enough to master for DSLR owners, but likely off-putting to anyone upgrading from a smartphone. The X-A3's physical controls are limited, both by the size of the body and the camera's ambitions. On the front of the camera, next to the lens, is a tiny dial for toggling between single, continuous and manual shooting, while the back contains shortcuts to autofocus, timer, burst shooting and white balance settings. There are also buttons to initiate video recording, which is always helpful, and the usual quick menu button for accessing off-needed tweaks such as ISO, white balance and aspect ratio. A dial on the top of the camera is required to toggle through everything, and using this becomes second nature pretty quickly, while a second dial proved useful for manually adjusting exposure. The X-A3's LCD screen with 180-degree tilt presents some nifty usability options. For example, you can use the X-A3 to take selfies by turning the LCD screen 180 degrees and pulling it up slightly so that you can see your entire mug, albeit upside down, but it's enough for framing purposes. Its smile mode for selfies works really well, although in our tests it was also triggered by some random inanimate objects that definitely weren't smiling. The more serious photographer will appreciate that flip-up screen, making it easier to shoot over the heads of crowds, or to get down close to the floor and take shots from unusual angles without having to kneel, lie on the ground. In our tests with an iPhone, the Fujifilm camera remote app worked reasonably well. It allowed us to remotely operate the camera and make manual adjustments, most obviously to ISO and exposure compensation, and consistently maintained a connection over Wi-Fi. It's pretty much a one-page app, and when trying to escape from the remote viewing page the app always wants to disconnect from the camera, although despite this quirk we were able to transfer a batch of images successfully several times in a row.